Hello everybody! How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another Gel Monster painting live! Yay! Okay, so hi guys, hello everybody! Hello. Okay, so in today's live we are going to be painting another Gel Monster. So if you guys don't know, my name is Tim and I am a muse, a content creator, and an affiliate for Zillabue. And today we are going to do what we have always done the last couple of lives, which is we're going to paint a gel monster. So the way this works is that I will draw a card from the gel monster deck, and then I'm going to do it like this so that I don't know what we're picking. And whatever card I draw from the deck, we are going to draw that monster, okay? So if you guys don't know, this is Gel Monster. This is Zillabue's gel color line. And with every color comes a gel monster. So for the gel monster, every color has, a character, okay? And every card, it will tell you the name of the color and all its characteristics, and also a little fun fact about the Experimon itself, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just like flip this over and we're gonna draw it. Now I'm going to take out the item cards, which is like the glitters, and then the special cards. I'm gonna take these out so that I'm gonna draw those. But for this one, how did I become an ambassador? I was actually the first generation muse for Zillabue, and then I just kept working with them. So kind of like every year they have like an application to become like a muse for Zillabue, and then from there they would just pick pick the people that they choose. Okay, so I'm going to flip this deck over and we are literally going to just draw a card, and whatever card I pick, and that's the character we're gonna draw. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this upside down. I'm just gonna see which card calls to me. Let's go with, oh god, I don't know. Let's go with this one, whatever that card is. Okay, now, are you ready? So this is the card, this is the character we're gonna draw, and it is Midnite. Ooh, okay, so Midnite's actually the black gel color. Okay, so let's learn a little bit about this Experimon. So this Experimon's name is Midnite. It is the Experimon number 63. The color shade is true black. So viscosity is 4 stars, opacity is 5 stars, and the retention is 5 stars. Experimon number 63, known simply as Midnite, stands as a solitary Experimon with no evolutions. Midnite can appear and disappear using any form of darkness. It can even manipulate darkness, using it offensively or defensively. Okay, so we are going to be painting Midnite today. Now, even though Midnite is a black gel color, so this is the gel color right here, number 63. Okay, even though Midnite is a true black color, when you look at the character closely, you will see that it has like a little bit of dark gray, a little bit of white for the highlight right there. So we are going to incorporate some of those colors, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. But first, let's swatch the color. Now, one thing I love about these Gel Monster card is that the stats on the card actually does translate. It does represent what's in the bottle very, very accurately. And that's what I love about it, is that you know exactly what to expect from the bottle you purchase, okay? So, for example, you see if you compare white to Midnite, you can see the viscosity of white is 5 stars and the viscosity for black is 4 stars. And if I show you the bottle in white, you can see that the formula is much thicker. You see how thick that is? It's like very, very thick and viscous. It's almost like a liner gel consistency. So that's very, very thick. And if I open the black gel color, you can see that this is a little bit thinner in comparison to the white, like very slightly, but it is slightly thinner than the white. I actually prefer my gel, my black and white to be this consistency rather than the white consistency, because I feel like as a gel polish, it's a little bit too thick, but that's a use for everything. Okay, so first things first, we are going to swatch the color, just to give you an idea of what the color does and how it performs. And then we will go in with the character, okay? Now, at any point, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. I will do my best to answer every question, but if I miss it, because I'm not looking at my phone if I'm painting, so if I do miss any questions, you can also just comment it again until I answer it, or you can, this video will be saved, and you can also comment it under the post, okay? So first, let me just get my lamp set up. I don't know why I didn't. All right, so let's give this black a swatch first. So I have a swatch tip right here, and we're gonna swatch number 63. This is the black gel color. And you can see it says the opacity is 5 stars, the viscosity is 4 stars. So let's give it a whirl. Okay. Now, when you're using the Gel Monster gel color, less is definitely more. You do not need a lot, especially if the opacity is like 5 stars. It's already really pigmented from the bottle, so you really don't need a lot. A little goes a very long way. You can see that it's so thin. You see how it's really, really thin? Okay, and it still gives you that very good pigmentation. Okay, so you want to make sure you do less, and especially with colors like black, like white, yellow, and red. Those are the colors that are notoriously hard to cure. So in order to avoid any type of curing issues, you want to make sure you apply it in thin layers. So this is the one very thin coat of the black. You can see it's super opaque. So like I said, it does translate, the statistics on the card does translate very accurately to what's in the bottle, okay? So this is one thin coat of the black. I'm gonna give this a cure. Now I'm gonna do 2 coats to give it a fair comparison, okay? So the thing with the gel color is it is this, especially the black, it's very highly pigmented. Now let's say if you get a color that has a slightly thinner opacity like this one. Okay, so this one has a 3-star opacity. This is number 34. Is this polish available as a whole set with the cards? It is in the whole set, but you can also buy them individually as well. And even if you buy the polish individually, you will get the cards for individual bottles as well. Did I miss the white paint? I'm not swatching them, but today we're painting this character. Okay, so for example, like this golden sheer color, this is a little bit more on the less opaque side according to the card. So when it's less opaque, even though it's less opaque, don't be tempted to put a very thick coat to get it like very, very opaque. Okay, 2 thin coats is the best way to judge a gel color's coverage. So even though a gel is like not pigmented in 1 coat, doesn't mean it's not good. Because every gel has its purpose, so don't feel like just because it's not pigmented in 1 coat, then you cannot use it, okay? So we're gonna do a 2nd coat of this black here. So if you see me here picking up the color, I'm actually wiping off the excess on one side. Like there's barely anything on my brush. If you look at here, there's barely anything on the brush. And even with that, it is sufficient, okay? So I'm gonna do 2 thin coats of this black gel polish to show you how it can perform. Even in 1 coat, it's already very opaque. So 2 coats is definitely will give you that true opacity though. Okay, and like I said before, I prefer this kind of like the black's viscosity, like the 4-star viscosity is like my preferred viscosity in a gel bottle. The white is a 5-star viscosity, which is, to me, it's a little bit thicker for like a gel in a bottle, but that also means it's great as like doing for doing detail work, because it's much thicker, meaning it doesn't run. It's not as runny, so you can get very nice like detailed work using the white. Okay, but this is the black in 2 coats. Can you get that up here? Okay. So in today's live, we drew this card, which is Midnite, and I'm going to use this card and we're going to draw out the character. It's a little bit hard to see. Help, my black always wrinkles. What am I doing wrong? So there's a couple things. If your black is wrinkling, there are a couple things you're doing wrong. Number 1, you are applying way too thick. The layer you're applying is way too thick. and is causing that to wrinkle. So the reason why the gel wrinkle is because the gel is curing on top but not underneath. That means the layer is too thick, number one. Number two, the reason why your black is wrinkling could also be that your lamp is not strong enough, or the bulbs in the lamp, like the LED lights or the UV lights, are very weak and they're dying. Like let's say if you use a very old lamp, so that could be the reason why, because it doesn't have a strong enough cure power to cure the gel all the way through, hence the wrinkling. Okay, so, and number three, the reason why your gel wrinkles sometimes, if you're doing it on a tip like this, if you don't put the nail tip exactly where like like the end of your finger should be in the lamp, it's not getting the right light exposure, even though it is a good lamp. If you just put it at if you put the tip at the very entrance of the lamp, it's not getting the correct amount of exposure, so it's only gonna partially cure, causing it to wrinkle. So if you're using a nail tip like this, you need to make sure you put it all the way in where your fingertips would be to get the proper cure. Okay, so those are the couple of reasons why your gel may be wrinkling, and that applies to any gel, but the most notorious culprit for gel not curing properly is black, white, yellow, and red. Those are the colors that always have an issue with curing, so make sure you be careful. Yes, the white is almost art gel, exactly, because of how viscous it is. It's almost like an art gel to me. But if I'm using a gel polish from the bottle, I prefer it to be a little bit thinner. Still love it though, very pigmented, so great. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a top coat. I'm gonna use the gel. Oh, this is the base coat. I'm gonna use the Gel Monster top gel here to do a top coat before we go ahead and start with our design today. Yeah, so you're very welcome. So there are a couple of reasons why your gel would wrinkle. So those are the things you have to pay attention to. Like I said, when you're using gel, thin layers, okay? 2 coats is the most ideal. Don't be tempted to do everything in 1 coat. And trust me, I understand the appeal of, like, you know, if it's pigments in 1 coat, then you save time. But the thing is, you don't want to rush it, and you don't want to risk having your gel not cure all the way through. So I much prefer doing it safe and keeping it super thin, and do 2 thin coats. Okay, so this is the top coat. I'm going to go ahead and give this a cure. So every time I put my tip into the lamp, I am putting it in to basically where my fingers would be if I were to cure my hand. So that's where your nail tip should be as well. If you're doing like content creating for like using nail tips, that's where that should be where your nail tip should be to cure it properly. Okay, now let's begin by painting this character. So we're gonna paint Midnite today. So, and as I mentioned before, even though Midnite is a black gel color, you can see like the monster itself does have little bits of gray here, and even a lighter gray right there, and like the eyes have the white highlight. So we're gonna have to grab those colors, okay? So I'm gonna use this gray here. This is number 62. So let me find the card for it. Number 62. Okay. So number 62, this is Experimon 62 called Lala Char. You can see it's a very cute little piggy. It's a dark gray color, viscosity 4-star, opacity 4-star, retention 5 stars. Lala Char, the final evolution of Experimon 60, can fill the entire city with smoke, clouds, and also possesses the ability to create doppelgangers with its precise control of its smoke output. So there you go, fun fact about Experimon number 62. I'm gonna put a little bit of that here on the palette. Okay, just a little bit. Now, if I need this to be a little bit darker, I can just add Midnite into it to make it a little bit darker, okay? And of course, I'm gonna put Midnite down. This is the black. Okay, I'm gonna put it right there. This is actually a lot though for like the size of tip that we're gonna paint, but it's okay. And I'm also gonna grab like the slightly lighter gray right here. So I'm actually going to grab this one. This is number 60. So let's find number 60. Number 60 is right here. So this is number 60. It's Little Char. Little Char is 3-star viscosity, 4-star opacity, and 5-star retention. Experimon 60 Little Char can generate small smoke clouds that can be used as a smokescreen. Little Char is small but mighty. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add this color onto the palette as well. And of course, we're going to need white. for the highlight and even for mixing if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and grab white. This is white right here. So white is the first Experimon, 5-star viscosity, 5-star opacity, 5-star retention. Okay, so Experimon number 1, white, born in Zilla's lab, wields the power to white out anything. Its brilliance blinds and erases, leaving behind a blank canvas. White can create detailed illusions when using with liner brush. So like I said, the opacity for this one is 5-star, so it pretty much behaves like a liner gel. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of this onto the palette right there. Okay, don't need a lot of it. Okay, now the next thing we're gonna need is to figure out like the background for this. Since the character is going to be pretty dark, I'm gonna use a lighter background just so it stands out better. Let's go with but this is the black. Okay, I'm gonna go with, what color should I do? Should I do a glitter? Let's do a glitter. Let's do a silver background. So I'm actually going to use the same gray that I picked up before, the little char gray. We're going to do one coat of this and I'm going to add silver glitter on top. That will be my background. Okay, so I'm going to do one thin coat. Okay, little char has a 4-star opacity, but you can see even 4-star opacity is very pigmented. Okay, there you go. This is one thin coat. This is like a light gray color. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a cure. And the next thing I'm gonna put on top of that is a silver glitter, which they have it in here. So the item card's here. So there is, so see there's a white glitter and then there's a silver glitter. So I'm gonna use the silver glitter in this to match the, the gray background. So the silver glitter is right here. This is the Experimon item number 73. The color shade is a glitter silver. So viscosity is 3-star, opacity is 2-star because it's glitter. So it's of course a little bit more transparent. Found during the Zilla team's adventure, the Knight's hat boosts confidence and bravery. So this is the glitter right here. And you can see it's a very nice silver specks. I would say there's like different sizes of glitter here and some are even reflective and some are just like the basic silver glitter. But it's going to be very pretty. And I'm going to go ahead and add that onto the gray here. Okay. Look at that. Look how sparkly that is. Woo! She is bright. Okay. There are even some silver hollow pieces in here. Just some. And then some reflective silver and then some finer silver and a little bit chunkier silver. But this is the silver glitter. Very pretty. It's so sparkly. Camera focus. There. Oh. There you go. It's too sparkly. The camera can't focus. Okay, and you can, so the key with when you're using the Gel Monster glitters, it might look like very thick in the bottle, but when you're applying it, it does apply very like smoothly. And you can see how right now it's a little bit textured, but the thing with the glitter gel is you actually want to give it a couple of seconds. It would actually like level out. And it will become very smooth. So right now you see how it's like a little bit bumpy looking at the light's reflection. Give it a couple of seconds. It's going to level on its own. It's going to be very, very smooth. Especially if you want a nice background to like, paint characters. You don't want it to be super, super bumpy. So once you paint the glitter on top, just wait a little bit. And then you will see that the line of light is getting smoother and smoother and smoother. That's how you know the glitter is settling into that clear gel, giving it a nice smooth finish. You see how the light now is like nice and smooth? See, there's no bump anymore. Right? Nice and smooth. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and give this a cure. Or if let's say you are working in a very cold climate and like the gel is not leveling properly, you can also turn the tip upside down like this. Gravity is going to help level it for you. Or you can do a thin coat of base coat just to even out the surface, and then you can do your character on top of that. Okay, but look at that, nice and smooth. Okay, so this is gonna go into the light for 30 seconds. Okay, so this is one of the biggest tip I can give you when you're trying to paint a character. Before I paint a character, I always like to wipe off the inhibition layer of the gel first. Before painting on top of the surface. And the reason is because you don't want the sticky layer of the gel to interfere with your line work, because like sometimes because of the compatibility, it might cause your lines like spread. That's from the sticky layer. So I prefer my canvas to be nice and smooth and tacky free, so that way I can do my art without any worries, okay? And the reason why I don't top coat instead of just wiping it, rather than just wiping it off, is because sometimes with like certain brands of top coat, it can be so shiny and glossy that like when you add gel on top, it doesn't stick properly. So that's why I much rather just wipe off the sticky layer and then just paint on top of that, rather than trying to paint a top coat and then paint on top of that. Okay, so I'm gonna just wipe off the sticky layer here, and it's nice and smooth, so I can paint my character directly on top of here. Okay, so again, the character we're painting tonight is Midnite. So the way I like to measure out my character onto to fit the nail is to make sure that whatever I'm trying to draw makes sense in terms of proportion. So if you take this character, okay, and you cut it in half, it would be right where this waistline is, right here. Okay, so if I imagine that, I'm going to just draw it on the nail to show you what I see in my head. But if I were to draw the halfway point, it's like about here, right? This is where the halfway point is. And like we said before, the halfway point is basically where the waist is. So if I just lightly imagine like the waist to be right here, okay, you can then see how big you need the head to be. So the head would roughly be about like, if I just like roughly draw it out, it would be roughly like this size. So I know how big the head needs to be if I want to fit the whole character. Now, of course, you can just paint like, you know, that much of the character, or even like just here, or even just the head. That's totally fine. But depending on how much you want to fit in the character, that's how you should proportion it in your head. You should eyeball basically how much of it can fit, and that's how big or how small you want to start, so that way you're not doing unnecessary steps, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna just give that a cleanse. Now so in my head, that's what I see. So I know roughly how big to start off the head, okay? So I'm gonna do more like a color blocking instead of a sketch, but okay, so if you look at the head, I don't know if y'all can see, let me try zooming in a little bit. Okay, so if you look at the head here, this head is pretty much like a circle. You see this circle right here? Okay, and the bottom here is a little triangle. See that? A circle right there, and then a triangle right there. Okay, so when I'm drawing that, that's what I'm going to imagine. So even if you are color blocking, you want to use shapes to help you color block, to make it a little bit more manageable. So again, from what I was doing before, I know roughly how big the head should be. So to draw a circle, you can either just draw a circle if you can, or you can do the cross method, which is just a vertical line and then a horizontal line. If you want it to be a circle, the horizontal and the vertical line should be the same length. If you want an oval, either one should be longer. Okay, so from here, we can then fill out the circle. Okay, so there is your circle for the head. Okay, and then from the circle, remember, it's a little triangle here at the bottom that overlaps onto the circle a little bit. So I'm going to draw it like that to give it the chin. Okay, so I'm literally drawing a triangle overlapping the circle, just like that, to give it the chin. Okay, and then on this side, you can see here, it has this little triangle here too, right? So from here, I can just connect this up into the face to create that triangle. What product would you recommend for cleaning your brushes? Only use isopropyl alcohol. Don't clean your brushes with acetone because acetone can really dry out your brush. So only use isopropyl alcohol. I use 70% isopropyl alcohol. If you want to use 90%, you can as well. Just know that the higher percentage of alcohol, the drier it gets. That's why I keep mine 70%. But if you're cleaning something like black, like very pigmented colors, you can use 90%. Okay. So once I have roughly the size of the head here, we're gonna basically draw 2 triangles to give the ears. Okay, so this first ear, you see how the circle was right here, correct? That's the circle right there. The ears comes exactly from this side of the circle and it comes down. So from the side of the circle right here, I'm gonna just extend this up like that to create the ear. Okay, and then leaving the correct amount of space, I'm going to add the other ear the same way. Okay, just like that. I'm sorry, that was my stomach. Okay, so that was the ear. Okay, and then from there, you see how here, once you have the triangle, it connects up to the shoulder right there. So I'm actually going to just extend this up this way to connect the shoulder. Oh, no worries. I was saying that if you want to clean your brushes, you should only use 70% isopropyl. You should only use isopropyl alcohol, because acetone is really drying and it can really dry out your brush and ruin the bristles. So only use alcohol. I personally use 70% IPA, but if you want to use 90% and above, you totally can. Just remember, the higher percentage of alcohol, the higher the percentage, the drier it is. So I would only use like 90% alcohol if I'm cleaning out like liner gels or like something that's super, super pigmented. Okay, but otherwise I only use 70%. Okay, hopefully that helps. So once I have that line, you can see here the hair, this part right here, the hair, it connects from the top of the circle. See right here, it connects all the way down. See that? And here, you basically have like a little oval right here. Okay, and the oval cuts into the triangle. Okay, so, oh, and another thing to note, you see, you want to figure out how far this oval needs to go. So if you take this character and divide it by half, you see half is right here, right? Oh, sorry. It's from here to here, half is right here. So you see how the hair, it ends before the halfway point, right? So that's where I'm going to stop. So if I'm going to take this to do the halfway point, which is right here, roughly, if the halfway point is right here, I need my hair to stop before that. Okay, so I'm going to extend this line right here. I'm going to go down. Okay, to create that oval, which is right here. See how I'm marking out the oval? It's going to be right here. And notice how I am stopping right before that middle line. See that? Okay, you can even make the oval a little bit skinnier. I think I made mine a little bit too thick. What brush am I using? I'm currently using a brush from a.k.a, but we have a similar one from Leaf Gel as well. This is the short liner brush from a.k.a. I'm just going to use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol here just to clean up a tad. So because I made the oval a little bit too wide, so I'm just going to clean up from the side here to make the oval a little bit skinnier. There you go. Okay, but that's how I do my proportion. Okay, so again, I noticed that the hair starts from the head here, it connects down, right? But how far do I go? If I split the character halfway, it's going to be right here. And you can see where the head, the hair ends here, it ends above the halfway point. So if I imagine this to be the halfway point of the nail, okay, the hair needs to end above that. Okay, that's how you keep your proportions correct. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this in with the gray. Just like that. Okay, so now you pretty much have like the head and you have a little bit of the hair. Okay, I'm just rounding out the chin a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and give this a cure first before I continue anything else. I'm also going to just wipe off this middle guideline here. Okay, so I'm just gonna wipe that off. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a cure. And the next thing we're going to worry about is the little, his little fur, like this furry part. Okay, so this part, obviously the fur part is a little bit lighter than the head. So I'm going to go ahead and use the lighter gray. This is a little bit too light though. So I'm actually going to just add this into here just to make it a little bit lighter. Okay, than this one, but not as light as this. See that? Now, this is also a trick that I can share with you guys. When you're mixing color, don't mix directly into the center because you're gonna waste a lot more gel. So for example, here, I want to make this a little bit lighter. I just mix it from the edge of this color and I'm slowly incorporating the lighter color into the darker color until I'm happy with it, then I will stop. Okay, this is the best way to mix color, so that way you don't mix too much or you don't use up the entire thing. Because I can also just add black into this corner and mix different color. I can add white into this corner to mix different color, right? So this is a more efficient way of using color, so that way you're not adding so much gel on the palette. You're using whatever that's already on your palette. Okay, so now let's figure out how to draw this fuzzy thing. Okay, so here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and here it goes up here towards here a little bit. So it does cut into the hair a little bit, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so judging from here, it connects from the face down here. Okay, it's going to go into the hair. It's going to go up here to create a little spike. Okay, and same thing, it's going to add a couple of spikes down here. It's going to be one spike over here. Okay, right now everything is definitely on the lighter side, but it's okay because we can make it darker. I'm just keeping it light because I can always add more. It's easier to add darker to cover up the light rather than light covering the dark. Okay. And then I'm going to add this piece right here. My stomach is making so much noise right now. I am so sorry. Okay, and then the center triangle here to give the center chest hair piece. So I'm doing this part right here. This little triangle right here. Okay, then you see here, there's one more spike right there, and it just like has a line right here for the arm to come out. Okay, so I'm gonna add one more spike right here. Okay, and then it's going to be a slot for the arm to come out. So it's gonna be right there. Okay, and then we're gonna finish off the fur. This thing is so dark, I can't even see where the hand is. Okay, it's a little bit more right here. Okay, so this is one of the cool things about color blocking is that when you're color blocking, you can still fix it later, right? So don't be too stressed about getting the color block like 100% accurate. Just give it about like 75% accurate. You can always fix it with color, okay? So I'm gonna give that a flash here. Okay, now we're going to use the same color as we used the head to map out where the body is. So So you remember how we talk about how if you split this halfway, this is where the body is. So this is where the upper part of the body and this is the lower part of the body. So I need to make sure I find where this line is. You see how this hair lines up with the middle part of the body? See that? This hair right here lines up with the middle part of the body. So this is the hair right there. It ends literally in the center of the body. Okay, so I'm going to use this color to find that pretty much that waistline where the waist starts. Okay, and this is going to go up here. This is the side of the body right there. Okay, and then we're going to find this side as well. So it's going to be right here in this crevice. Okay, so this is the top half of the body. Now the bottom half here, you see it's like a teardrop shape. Can you guys imagine that? Like right here, you see how it's like an oblong, like a teardrop shape, right? So I'm gonna map out that shape right here. I'm gonna go around. Just like that. Okay, and then we can fill this in with the gray color. Okay, there you have the body. And then from here, okay, from here, I'm going to give this a cure first. So you can either flash cure or put it into the lamp. I'm going to just give it a quick flash cure. Every time I flash cure, I just do about like 5 to 10 seconds just to freeze it in place. Okay, so before we draw the legs, let's draw the arms first. So you see how here, the arm is pretty much on the side of the body here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and match that to here. So it's going to be on the side of the body, so a little bit right here. It's going to be right here, and it's going to just pull down to the sides. Creating the fingers, which is a point. Yes, curing it piece by piece makes it a lot easier, and that way it's also a little bit more manageable. My biggest tip for doing character is you want to break it down into pieces to make it easier. So like that's why we did the head, we did the chest piece, the body, the hand, and by flash curing that bit by bit, it makes it a little bit more approachable. So it's not as scary. Okay, so and then from the arm, from the body here, you can extend out the arm. Okay, so from here, this is the body. We're gonna extend out the arm from here. So it's gonna be two pieces. So it's gonna be the bicep part right there. Okay, and then we're gonna do the forearm. The forearm right there. Okay, and I'm also paying attention to how far the forearm, how far the forearm is going. You see how the tip of the forearm does not go past the end of the body, right? So you see how I stopped mine here, because from here we can then add 3 little triangles for the finger, like that. But see how it's still not past the edge of the body, because if you look at the proportions on here, this doesn't go past the base of the body. See that? That's why I stopped mine there. Okay, so every time when I'm doing proportions and stuff, that's what I'm looking at. I'm using parts of the character to help guide me to place different things. Okay, so from here, we can go ahead and give this a cure if you want. Okay, and the last thing is we're going to find the little feet. Okay, so for the feet, I want you guys to do the left and the right separately. So if you look at this, left leg right here, it basically composes of 3 parts. This part, you see how it's like a 1 here? Sorry, here, like, you see how here's 1? Hi, Katie! So you see this character right here, if you look at this leg, you're basically breaking into 3 parts. There's 1 right here, 1 right here, and then the base. Okay, so when I'm drawing legs, I like to use like long cylinders to help me. So here's going to be a cylinder, and it's going to be a semicircle right there. Okay, so with that knowledge, I'm going to go ahead and find the edge here. We're going to do 1 cylinder. Okay, this is basically where the knee is going to be, just like that. Okay, and then another cylinder right here. You can even use rectangles if you want. Okay, just like that for the second part of the leg. Okay, and then remember the last part of the leg, the little foot, is basically going to be a semicircle right there. See that? Now you have the leg. Okay. And then once you have the guide of the leg, you can then fine tune it by making this part a little bit more pointy for the heel. Okay, and then you see how like the little toes, it's like 3 different parts. It's like 1, 2, 3. So from this little semicircle, you can then extend out to make the toes. 1 toe, 2 toe, and you can do 1 more point right there for the 3rd toe. Okay, so even though you are starting off with basic shapes, you can then enhance it from there to make it into more accurate to the character. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how this one is looking. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a cure. Actually, the leg's a little bit too short. Let me make it a little longer. If I look at the whole thing, if I look at the nail as a whole, you see how like the leg is a little bit short for like the amount of body it has. So I'm actually going to make the legs a little bit longer. The thing to remember with nail art is that if it doesn't fit, don't force to make it fit into the nail. You're going to mess up the proportion. I rather stick to the proportion and have a little bit of the character not fit onto the nail to make it proportionally correct, accurate, than trying to fit everything on the nail, because it will look funny. Okay, so I'm actually extending the legs just to make it a little bit longer right there. Okay, and then if my toes don't really fit, it's okay. At least it will be proportionally correct. So they can't really fit the toes, which is fine. So that's the leg. That looks a little bit better. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give this a flash cure. And then now we're gonna deal with the other leg. Okay, so for this one, same thing. You see how there's like a thigh right here. This is the thigh piece. So it's gonna be 1 piece, 2 piece, and again, this is gonna be a semicircle with like, 3 claws coming up. Okay, so again, we're going to do 1 piece, which is going to be right here. Okay, and then a second piece, which is going to be right there. And again, I'm matching the proportion. So I know the toe is not going to fit. The toe is going to be right here. Okay, but it's okay. I'd much rather the proportion be correct than trying to get everything to fit. So I'll just do it right there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a cure. But you see how you pretty much have the guideline for the character already? And you see how proportion wise it matches. It's not too big, not too small. Okay. And then from here, we can now add the little details. So for example, I want the face to be a tiny bit darker. So I'm actually going to add black here into the gray. Again, I'm mixing the black on the side. See that? I'm not adding it into the center. I'm mixing the black from the edge of the color because it gives you more control. See that? So that way, if you want to use this to highlight now, you can, and not wasting the whole thing. Okay, so that's a little bit of a darker gray. And now we're basically going to fine tune the little details. So I'm going to add this to the head to make it a little bit darker. Same thing with the mane back here. I'm going to go ahead and add that in as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this darker gray. Okay, a little goes a long way here. I'm going to use this to basically just paint over what I already did. Now, if you were accurate from the beginning and you already have this color mixed, that's great. So you would basically save a step. Okay, I just basically did it a little bit lighter first just to be a little bit safe. But if you started off with this color, that's even better. Okay, but right now I'm just adding that into wherever I painted. When you are using your gel to fill in like large spaces like this, don't be tempted to add too much. What I would always advise is like you pick up a little bit, you add it to where you want to add and just spread it. Okay, don't add too much, otherwise you're going to have like curing issues, especially for like really dark colors. Okay, a little goes a long way. Okay, so I'm adding this here. So like right now, the one thing I noticed is like the hair part, like here, you see how here it juts out a lot more than mine. Okay, so I'm actually going to make this a little bit, like I'm going to push this out a little bit further. Like make it like over here instead. Okay, but this is what I mean when you are doing color blocking. Don't be worried about getting everything super accurate in the beginning, because even when you're using color, you can use color to help fix your mistakes. Okay, so don't be stressed. Like here, for example, I want this mane to go a little bit higher. So I'm actually going to just leave it right there. And using the darker color, I'm going to carve out the shape of the mane, which is right there, right there. Okay. So I'm literally using this darker color to fix the mane. See that? Did you fully cure the layers? No, I didn't. It's all only been flash cured so far. Okay. And this is where the hair ends. That's the arm. Okay. And the reason why I didn't fully cure it before adding the second layer is because this layer that I'm painting on top right now, I've already flash cured this and this and this and this and this and this. By the time I flash cure like 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10, this is pretty much already cured. Okay. So this is where the hair will end. And now I have to go ahead and add this spiky part right here. Now, okay, to be completely honest, when I'm painting hair on a character or whatever, you don't have to paint exactly like 1 spike, 2 spike, 3 spike. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to worry about getting all the spikes exactly correct. The trick with hair is that as long as the direction of the hair is correct, it will be correct. So for example, you see how the hair all flows from this point right here where it's tied? It's going to flow from here and going in this general direction. If you get the flow of the hair correct, it doesn't matter how many of these spikes you put, it will still look correct. The only thing I would pay attention to is this one long spike in the middle, right? And then 2 small spikes on the side. And then I'll add whatever if I want to add. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to grab this color right here. I'm going to add the first big spike, the middle one. Okay, which would be right here. Okay, it's not going to fit on the nail, which is fine. Okay, it's going to go right here. Okay, and we see how I'm keeping everything flowing in the same direction. So I'm going to do one small one here. Like that. And then the others are not even going to fit. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that on the side like that. Okay, and then if I feel like it, okay, I'll add one small one on this side, right there, add one in between here if I want. Okay, as long as you're all flowing in the same direction, you're good. Okay, because as much as we want to be super accurate, it's like little things like this, like like those tiny hairs, like it's not going to change how the character looks. So it's not something that you should stress yourself about to try to get everything to fit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a cure now. Okay. Aw, thanks. I go live basically every 2 weeks to do a Jump Monster character. So, we can definitely do more. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this same color now to basically paint in the body. So this is the part where if you want to fix how the little spikes on the hair look, you can actually use the gel to fix it. So for example, for this hair right here, you know what, Momo's Nail Corner, that's exactly what will happen. If you try to add all the hair, it will go in different proportions. You're exactly right. That's why I'm saying, like, to do hair like this, find the main part, which is the center right here. Add a couple on the sides and then fill in the blank with smaller ones. That way it guides you to make sure the hair's not like all over the place, right? Again, like I said, all the hair needs to flow in the same direction. See that? It's going in the same direction. Then it will make sense, okay? So coming back to this, so let's say I want to fix this triangle right here to make it angle differently a little bit. So I can actually use this darker color right now to slightly cover it up like that. Okay, so I'm literally fixing the angle of the hair using the darker color. So this is what I meant when I said that you can use color to fix like proportions and stuff and details like that. See how I just used that darker gray right now to fix how the hair is pointing? Right? So like work smarter, not harder, right? I'm gonna go ahead and like fill in the blanks now. Okay, gonna map out the body. I mean, this is the hand, sorry. Okay. So I actually feel like this is this part of the body right here is a little bit too wide. So I'm actually going to paint inside it and then add the leg right there. So see how I'm still using the color to fix my mistake as I'm noticing them. So if you're wondering what I would do about this little piece right here that's extra, well, you can just add the glitter color on top, but there is a piece of hair in between the body and the arm right here. So I would actually add that. But under normal circumstances, if there's, let's say, nothing there, what I would do is I would use this base color right here, paint over it, and you're good. Okay? So again, don't panic. There's always a solution. Okay? So now I'm just making sure this body is painted in. How are you guys doing, by the way? Is everyone doing okay? How's the Tuesday going? Ooh, while I'm doing this part, this is like the, I guess like the boring part. While I'm doing this part right now, let me just remind you guys, there's actually a gel monster competition going on right now. And your talent can be, and there's like a gel monster like talent competition. So your talent can be anything. It could be dancing, it could be singing, it could be nail art, anything. So I definitely recommend you guys to at least try participating in it, because the prizes are insane. You basically have the grand prize winner is like an $8,000 value. So definitely just give it a shot. But there are some certain criteria you have to fulfill. So just make sure you read all the rules very thoroughly and carefully to make sure that you're following all the instructions carefully, to prevent yourself from getting disqualified. So just make sure you read through the rules. But you definitely should join. The only one of the criteria is to use like the Gel Monster theme song. But like I said, the talent can be anything. It could be singing, it could be dancing, it could be doing nail art like this. Like even doing simple nail art like this, it counts. So definitely try participating. Okay, the grand prize is like a $8,000 value. You will get like $5,000 store credit. I think it's like $200 or $300 or $500 Zillabue like seminar credit. So it's a lot of very good value stuff. Okay. Am I gonna participate? I'm debating. It honestly depends on how busy I get. Like how busy I am. But at the moment, I do have something planned. But nothing for sure yet. I know the prize is absolutely crazy. So like I said, just try. There's no harm in trying. So I'm actually going to go ahead and fill in the little legs here. Okay, so I'm just reminding you guys to, participate in a competition. You never know what can happen, right? But like I said, just make sure you read through the rules a little bit to make sure you're not missing out on anything, because that's important. You don't want to, do things that can make yourself get disqualified, right? Yeah, but I would say definitely give it a shot. The prizes are wild. It's crazy. Both first place and second place, you get the Gel Monster Full X, which is basically the gels I'm using today. You get the full set. So, that alone, it's like almost like $1,000 something value, almost $2,000 value. So yeah, the prices are crazy. Okay, we're almost done here. I mean, almost done with filling in the color. Okay. And don't forget, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comment section down below. I will do my best to answer them. I will do my best to look at my phone, because I am painting. But if I look at my phone, I'll answer whatever I can see. Okay. All right, I'm actually pretty happy with how this is looking. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this a cure. And then now we can go in and add detail, okay? Sorry, there's a brush in my mouth, so I sound weird. Okay, so from here, let's actually add the details into like the hair and stuff first. So if you look at the card, you can see like this hair part right here is much darker than the face. So I'm actually gonna just use the black color Midnite his color to add shadows into the back part. Okay, so using the black gel polish, I'm gonna go ahead and add the shadow, which is going to be most of this back part right here. Okay, you wanna just check your reference. Okay, so it's gonna be about half of this back part right there. And what I like to do from here, I'm gonna take my brush. Okay, this is how I like to blend on smaller nails like this. I take my brush, I wipe off any excess gel onto the palette, and then using my dry brush, I just pat in between. So this just lightly soften the edges like that. See? Blend. Okay, The reason why I don't use like a blending brush for like situations like this is because it's such a small space. Sometimes I find that if I use like a blending brush, it takes away more color than I need it to, rather than like blending it out evenly. Okay, so I prefer doing it this way. So again, let's add the shadow here. You can see there's like a shadow in between here. So I'm going to use again the same black gel polish. I'm going to add a shadow. Right there. And once again, I'm going to add the shadow to everywhere that has shadow first before I blend, so that way I don't have to wipe my brush like so many times. Okay. Okay. And there's one more right there. Okay, so once I have all my shadow where I want them to be, again, eep. Sorry, the card got in gel. So I would take my brush and I'll literally wipe off the excess on the palette. Okay, and then with like that dirty brush, I'm gonna just literally pat at the edge of that shadow to soften it. And see how that blends out? Okay, if you are worried that it's not blending out as nicely as you want, you can actually grab the same gray color that you used, okay, and paint like next to it. That would also help you blend a little bit. Just like that. Okay, so this is what I would do in like very small spaces, because it helps you retain the color without draining off too much color. Okay. Yeah, a teeny tiny ombre. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a cure. And then now we're going to look into the face. So if you look in the face here, you can see the shadow in the ear here and a little bit right here at the back. Right there, see the little tiny triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that black color. Okay, and add my shadow. Oh, sorry, I'm out of frame. Let me zoom back out. So I'm going to add the little tiny shadow right here. Okay, and the same thing with this ear. On the right side of the ear here. Okay, and then it also goes down to the face a little bit, like right here. So I'm actually going to add that here and bring it down like so. Okay, and then once again, I'm going to wipe off the excess on my brush. Okay, picking up that old gray color and using that to just lightly blend. I'm kind of doing like a tapping and brushing motion to blend that out, like so. Okay, for the ear, same thing. I'm gonna do it on the left side to just lightly blend that out. Okay, see, now I already add shadow. Okay, I'm gonna give this a cure. And then for the ears, there's actually like a tiny bit of highlight. I don't know if you guys can see on the camera. Right there, there's like a little highlight right here. So I'm actually going to use the original gray color that we used, this one. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and add just that one little tiny line to give that slight highlight a little bit. Okay, gonna give that a cure. Okay, and now we're gonna keep going. Now for the body, same thing. You see there's like there's two parts, right? That's like the upper body and the lower body. So the shadow here lies on the arm, but it's on the right side of the arm. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my black color to add shadow on the right side of the arm. It's kind of hard to like show on the card because it's like the character is so like, it's like, you know, Midnite is like black. So it's really hard to see the shadow, but I promise it's on the right side of the hand. Okay, both the forearm and the bicep area is on the right side. So I'm literally only painting the right half of the hand. And then same thing, we're gonna wipe off the gel off my brush And then with the dry brush, I'm going to paint literally just at the edge of the black to just lightly blend that out. Just like that. Okay, now same thing with the body. It's going to be, the top half is pretty much the same color, just this bottom half right here. This part is darker. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that the black color. I'm gonna mark out kind of like a moon shape. So from here all the way down here. Right there, see that? Okay, and then we're going to add the shadow on the legs too. So this is a shadow on the body on the right side again. Okay. And then for the legs as well, it's going to be on the right side. Okay. And then on the left side of the leg is also going to be on the right side, here and here. Okay. So I'm grabbing that black. Gonna do here. On the right side of the leg. Okay. And then we're gonna bring this down. And I'm gonna paint like the first toe. Just like that. Okay, so once all the black part is painted, again, I'm wiping off the excess of my brush. Using a dry brush, I'm just going to blend out the black on the edges here. Now, since this character is on the fluffier side because it has like hair, you see how even here for the highlight and the shadow, you see how it's like fluffy? It's like spiky, right? So when I'm blending these colors, I'm also purposely doing little like brush stroke motion. I'm like tapping. I don't keep my brush on the tip. I like pick it up every single time because that gives you like that fur, almost like the fur texture illusion. I'm basically using the tip of my brush to create that hairy effect. So I'm just like literally brushing it. See that how it creates that very fluffy texture? Okay. And then on the legs, I'm gonna draw long strokes to blend out that hair. Okay. If your brush gets too dirty, just wipe off the excess again on the palette and then using a semi-clean brush to just blend. Okay, just like that. And same thing like before, I'm gonna add the shadow under this chest coat right here. So I'm basically outlining the chest piece. Okay, just like that. And then once I have the outline, again, wipe off the excess off the brush. Then using the tip of the brush, just imagine like you're adding hair. So I'm using that to like fluff out the edges to make it look like hair, like hairy. Okay, so I'm fluffing it out. Okay, and then for the body piece, there's actually a highlight part here too. See how there's like a little bit of brighter piece on the chest here and like here. So I'm actually going to use the original gray color, this one right here. This is number 62. I'm using a Lala Char. Using that, I'm going to add some highlight right here. So again, hairy texture. So you see how I'm doing like the fuzz, like that. And then we're gonna do it on the edge of the lower body too. So right here. Okay. So once I have that, same thing, right? Wipe off your brush, and then with a dry brush, just lightly soften the edges a little bit. Just tap. Fluff. Okay, just like that, you add a highlight. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of that dark gray color in the middle here. Just gonna add too much highlight. But look at that. Do you see how fluffy the body looks? Okay, so I'm gonna give this a cure. And let's not forget this arm right here. So it's mostly going to be just shadow because it's like behind the body, right? So I'm gonna add just like that little bit of black on the right side again. This time for this piece, you want to make sure that the line you're drawing here, like the shadow, is actually the line of the body. So you want to pay attention to the proportion, like here, this part for like the upper body, and then the lower body right there. Because you're pretty much like mapping out the body. You know what I mean? Okay, so you're going to use that to just map it out and just like blend slightly. Ta-da! See? You have shadow, you have highlight. So you see how just from adding the shadow and highlight, you're already providing dimension to the body without even doing any line work, right? And I'm going to do the same thing here with the original gray color. We're going to add the little toes here. There's one toe here and then one in the back. Can't really see though because like, you know, the nails are oval shape, but it's fine. Okay, I'm going to use the same gray color here to highlight the sides here. Just a little bit. Okay. And once again, we're going to wipe off the excess. And then just lightly soften the edges a little bit. Because these are all like, you know, such small parts, you don't really have to use like a blending brush to do this. Just like your liner brush would do. Okay. This technique works for me personally, but if you find that using the blending brush works, then by all means do that. Do whatever works for you. Alrighty? Okay, so I'm liking how that looks. The only thing that I need to fix now is, well, not fix, but like add the details of is like the fur on the chest. So I'm gonna go and give this a cure first, and then we're gonna worry about the chest piece. So the chest piece, same thing. You see how it's a little bit, so I'm gonna use the number 62 gray to do the base and then add shadow on the sides here, including this heart in the back. Okay, so we're gonna grab number 62, the gray color, the dark gray color, and use this to darken up the fur on the chest piece. And once again, this is also the time you can fix any kind of imperfection using the color. See how I'm using this gray color to add the fur pieces. Okay, if there's anything that's incorrect, you just use this color. So here I want this piece to curve a little bit to look a little bit more fluffy. So you see how I'm adding that curve at the edge here? Okay, you can use color to fix your mistakes. So don't wait till you do the line work. So another thing that I would really suggest or like recommend you doing when you're doing characters is keep observing and keep trying to find things to make sure that you're not missing anything. So, but like I said, it's never too late to fix it. You can always use color to fix your quote unquote like mistakes, right? So don't be stressed if you find like a mistake later. Use color. Okay. And this even works like, let's say if you're not like a color blocking type of person, you prefer to do line work first. Same thing, right? Even if you've already done the line work for the entire thing, and while you are adding the color into the character, just add it. Just use it to fix things if you find things to fix. Okay. So let's say here, here, there's a little tiny little hair right here on the side of the arm. So I'm actually going to use this to add here. Okay, same thing here. I'm using this to cut out the slot where the hand's coming out of, making it nice and flat. Okay, if you want, you can add a tiny hair right here too. See? It's never too late to use your color to fix it. Okay? And then using the gray color here, I'm going to add that little piece of hair right there. Okay? Giving this a cure. And now we're going to mix the darker color, which I'm going to just add black into the dark gray to make it darker and use that to add shadow. Okay? And you need to look at your reference piece here because the shadow is also like spiky. You see how here it's like a... See that? It's like a zigzag right there. So I want to make sure I replicate that properly. So it's going to start from the chin right here. It's going to go down this way. It's going to go down towards here. Okay, and then using this combo, this is the shadow part. So I'm gonna use that to add, I'm gonna use that to add the shadow. Just like that. Okay. There's a little bit of shadow here as well. Okay, once again, once you add that, wipe off the excess off your brush. Okay, using a dry brush, you can just lightly fluff out the edges if you want to soften the blend a little bit. Just like that. Okay, and then there's also a little bit of highlight on the fur, just a tiny bit. You see how there's like a bright line right there, and right there. So I'm gonna use the lighter gray color to add the pieces to highlight the hair. So one right there. Okay, and then this one is a straight piece right there. And then we have one more right there. And then we're also going to add the darker shadow here on this back piece of hair. Just like that. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna use the light gray color too here. Just add the little hair tie right here, so it's just like a nice line right there to create the hair tie. All right, gonna give this a cure now. So we pretty much have everything like shaded and ready to go. The only thing that's missing now is the eyes. Okay, so I'm gonna use the light gray color directly, like exactly from the bottom. I'm gonna use like little char, this gray color to add the eyes. Okay. So the eyes is basically like an almond shape, or like in the shape of like a leaf, I would say. So it's going to be like a curve up here and slightly rounder down here. And then because of proportion, like the character is tilted like this way. So this, the left eye here is going to be much smaller than the right one. Okay. So using this light gray color, I'm going to map out the eyes. Oh. So I'm going to go ahead and map out the eyes. Right there. Okay, one eye. So the thing I would say to pay attention to when you're trying to map out the eye is the size of it. So you want to make sure that you're leaving enough space at the bottom of the eye and on top of the eye. So if you look at here, right here, you see there's still like, you know, face here, like on the side here and on the bottom of the eye. You need to leave enough space. But let's say, okay, I'm gonna make this purposely a little bit bigger just to show you like how I would fix my mistakes if I do make one. So let's say if I make the eye like super big, right there. I made it super, super big, okay? And let's say you have accidentally cured it. Oh no, right? Don't panic, right? Remember, you can always use color to fix your things, right? So you see how I can go ahead and grab the darker gray color, right? And literally use that like surgery tape, just change the size. See? So even if you notice it after the fact, don't worry, okay? There's always a solution. See, I can even use this dark gray color right now to like fix the shape of the eye if I want. See that? I'm gonna use this now to fix here. Right there. See that? See, exactly. See, y'all natural, you good. No, I cured that because I knew there was a way to fix it. Right, I wouldn't have done it if I knew there's no way to fixing it. But even if you're using a darker color and your base is lighter color, because the lighter color typically has white in it, you can still do the same thing. Okay. And honestly, sometimes here's my little secret, right? So this is a very good example is sometimes when I'm painting like a Hello Kitty, sometimes for me, my biggest struggle with painting Hello Kitty is like the eyes are too small or the eyes are too big or the nose is too big. So sometimes I will get it, you know, of course, I'll try to get it as close as I can to the correct size. But if I notice that the proportion, like let's say the nose is a little bit too big, I would actually just use white to make it smaller rather than trying to repaint that nose like so many times. I just do it one time, I cure it, and I use the white to make it smaller. So sometimes that might be an easier option rather than trying to erase and paint, erase and paint, erase and paint. It takes too long. So sometimes there are certain parts of the character I actually prefer the taking like the painting over method rather than trying to paint it the correct size. So yeah, something worth remembering and something worth like considering when you're trying to do like very small, like tiny character like this. Sometimes if you make it a little bit too big, it's okay. You can always like cut it out using the color. Okay, so now I'm going to do the other eye. It's going to be much smaller. So it's going to be right there. Okay, much smaller. Okay, same thing. Like, okay, I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So let's say this eye right here, right? It's really, really small. Okay, let's say if you couldn't get the proportion right. So let's say no matter how hard you try, you did this, it's too big. So you take your alcohol wipe and then you try to wipe it off like that. And then you try again, you know, try to get it the right size again. But then you made it too big. And then you try to grab your cleanup brush with some alcohol and you try to clean it up. But see, it just gets messier because like the brush is too big and you couldn't get like the right size. It's just a mess. So you wipe it off again. And then you take a brush and you go ahead and make the eye again. You see like how much more work that is? So what I would do if it's like things like this, I would just do my best to get it to about the right size. Okay, and then I would cure it. Boom. Okay, no fear, cure it. Okay, and then grab the darker color, which is the face color. Okay, and literally carve it out. See how much faster that is? Rather than trying to like get the size correct like 5-6 times, you can use this color to literally carve out the shape. You can even get like that. You can even get that little tiny point right there. See that? Because like you just like carve it out using the darker color. You can make it super tiny and nice clean points. Okay, so that's how, if like you know, for tiny things like that, that's how I would do it. You know, because there's always, you can always cover it up with color. It's not, and you know, especially with the gel monster color, they're pigmented, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, it's been sheer. And let's say even you're using something that it is sheer, you can still do 2 coats. But something so small like that, you really can't see it. Okay, so that's my tip for you guys. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and use the original dark gray color to paint the iris. For this right eye right here, well, his left, our right, it's pretty, the whole thing is pretty much a dark gray color. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in with the dark gray color, leaving a tiny bit of the white part showing. Tiny bit, just like so. Okay, and for the other eye, the whole thing is pretty much a dark gray because it's like, you know, it's like on the side. So you can fill this in with the dark gray color. Okay, and I'm gonna give this a cure. Ba-bum, cure. Okay, and now we're going to draw the pupil, which is gonna be black. Okay, now the thing about drawing pupils, you want to make sure you are leaving the correct amount of color on like around the pupil. So if you're drawing the pupil, you see how here it's pretty much in the center right there, right? When you're drawing the pupil, you want to make sure you leave the correct amount of space, because if you leave, let's say the left side here a lot more color than the right side, meaning you draw the pupil towards the right, the character will be looking right. If you leave too much space on the right side and not enough on the left, the character will be looking left. So the position of your pupil determines where the character is looking. Okay, so very important to pay attention to how much space you're leaving the pupil, and making sure you're not painting it so that it's looking in like a certain direction if it's not. Okay, so this one in this case is going to be directly in the center, like that. Okay, see how I'm leaving enough evenly the space around the pupil, so it makes it look like the character is looking directly at you. Okay, now on this side, the pupil is towards the right side, so it's going to be right there. Okay, we're going to give this a cure. And then the last thing to do for the eye is to do the white highlight. And same thing with the highlight of the pupil. The highlight should always be, it's sometimes smaller than most of the time smaller than the pupil. So you don't want the highlight to be too big, otherwise it will cover up the pupil and it's going to throw off the proportion of the eyes. So I'm going to do the tiniest little dot right there to get the pupil. Not pupil, the highlight. Okay, just like that. And it also has highlight on the other side, but it's much smaller. So just use the tip of the brush right there to get that highlight. Okay, so this character is pretty much done. So the last thing we have to do to finish the character is the line work, right? So before you do any line work, just make sure you give this a full cure. So I'm going to put this in the light to make sure it's fully cured. Now, my biggest trick to do line work is I always do a layer of matte top coat first, because it helps even out the surface and makes it a much easier surface to paint. Now, when you're doing your matte top coat, if you're using a non-white matte top coat, have you guys ever have an issue with your matte top coat like smudging your colors, or like after you cure your non-white matte top coat, it has like streaks of like shiny in it? The reason why that is a thing is because the sticky layer of the gel is causing those streaks. And the sticky layer of the gel, like whatever, you have painted, the sticky layer of that is causing the smudging. Okay, so a very simple solution to that is wiping the layer, wiping the gel with some isopropyl alcohol. The reason I say wipe with isopropyl alcohol and not acetone is because acetone strips color and isopropyl alcohol just removes the inhibition layer. So I prefer wiping out isopropyl alcohol, and then once you need to make sure it's completely evaporated before you do your matte top coat. Okay, that's how you prevent your matte top coat from streaking. That's how you prevent your matte top coat from having that that shiny line after you cure it. That's what you should do. So wipe with alcohol and then you should matte top coat. Now it has to be said, if your matte top coat already has the streak problem, wiping it once now is not going to fix that. That means it basically means that your matte top coat is already contaminated. So you need to do that with a new bottle of matte top coat. Okay. You need a good builder gel. Are you looking for a soft builder? There's a nose? There is a nose. You're right. There's a tiny nose. How did you see that? I didn't even notice that. Good catch. Thank you. I'm gonna grab the same color I did for like the white part of the eye. I'm gonna use that color to just do a little tiny dot right there. Okay, I'm gonna cure that. I didn't even notice the nose. I am so impressed. Thank you for calling that out. That's crazy. I couldn't even see the nose. Look, it's so tiny right there. So the builder gel I would recommend that I've been really loving is the Izemi builder. The Izemi resins are amazing. The one I use is in a jar. Oh my god, all the way over there. But the one I use is the resin version 1. It's like the blue jar. That's like in like a little jar. But they also have the resin fast, which is also in like a bottle. I don't have it with me though. But the Izemi resins are amazing builders. They're the ones that I love. They have amazing retention, very nice viscosity, not super runny. So very easy to use. So that's the one I would recommend. That's the one I've been loving a lot. I love Izemi's like base and top coat. Is that Zillabue's card character? Yes, these are Zillabue's like these are the gel monster. This is the gel color, and every gel color has and assigned has an assigned monster. I need ones that don't turn yellow. The Izemi one doesn't turn yellow. Yes, I love my Izemi top coat. I love my favorite is the non-wipe top gel mid. Is my favorite. But my second favorite, actually no, this is my favorite. The top gel resin is my favorite. The non-wipe is my second favorite. This is to me shinier than this one, but this one has a sticky layer, but this one doesn't. But they're both very shiny. This is just to me a little bit shinier. But the only trick with using this, a lot of people I heard have issues with the top gel resin from Izemi because they say like after they wipe the sticky layer, it's still like dull and not shiny. So a couple of things, when you're using a top coat that has a sticky layer, you need to make sure you let the top coat, after curing, make sure the top coat fully cools down before you wipe off the sticky layer. And that's because when the gel is still warm, it's not set yet. Like the layer that is shiny is not completely set yet. And then when you go in with the alcohol to wipe it off, it's not going to be shiny. So if this cures for 30 seconds, I would let it cool down for a minute before I wipe it. Let it cool down for as long as you can before you cleanse it to remove the sticky layer. It's going to be super, super shiny. When you let it cool down, don't keep the hand in the lamp because it's warm in the lamp. So keep the hand outside, let it cool down. You know, take like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, longer the better. Once it cools down, then you wipe off the sticky layer. Okay, that will give you the most like shine, like the best shine. Okay, so once you have your alcohol and everything fully evaporated, then you can go in with your isopropyl alcohol. You can go in with your matte top coat. The one I like to use is the one from F-Gel, the F-Gel non-white matte top coat. But again, it is a non-white formula, so you need to make sure you cleanse the layer first, the nail, before you paint it. Otherwise, you're going to have streaks. You don't want to contaminate your matte top coat. Okay, so do a thin layer, and we're going to cure it. Now, when you're applying matte top coat, here's another trick, tip number X, I don't know how many, but here's a tip for you when you're doing matte top coat. If you ever have an issue where your matte top coat looks cloudy, like once you paint over your character, it looks like dull, it's because you're using way too much matte top coat. Matte top coat needs to be thin in order for it to look matte. If you paint it very, very thick, it's almost equivalent to you painting like 3 coats of matte top coat. So it's going to cause your character or whatever's underneath to look cloudy. Okay, so thin layer would make sure that your matte top coat is actually matte and not like foggy or cloudy. Okay, so just remember that before you do your matte top coat, and then it will look something like this. See how there's like no streaks, okay, no smudges, nice matte layer, no like, you know, foggy looking. Okay, perfect. So from here is now you can do your line work. And again, the reason why I suggest doing a matte top coat before the line work is because now the surface is nice and smooth. It'll be much easier for you to do your line work, especially after all that. Excuse me. Ooh, I'm burping. Excuse me. So after all the layers of color you added, the surface can be a little bit bumpy depending on your gel control. So having that matte top coat just like smooth everything out a little bit to prevent you from having the little divots and dips, so your line work can glide smoothly, number one. Number two, the reason why I suggest using a matte and not a shiny is because sometimes a shiny top coat can be very, very glossy, that when you draw the line, it like kind of like shrinks, like it pulls away, like it shrinks a little bit. So making it matte won't have that problem because it's pretty much like drawing like on paper. So that's why I say do matte and not shiny to get it nice and smooth. Okay, now the trick with line work is that there's no trick, it's all practice. But a lot of times what I find the common mistake that people do when it comes to line work is that the pressure that you're doing is not correct. So when you're doing line work, number one, loading your brush is really essential. So when you do line work, don't just like tap, tap, tap and then go do your line work because you see what your brush looks like. You never get a nice clean line. So you want to make sure you drag your brush through. Okay, and you want to rotate your brush like that. You want to rotate it as you're dragging so that lets you properly load and saturate your brush with the color and look at the bristle. Nice fine point. Okay, that way you can get nice clean lines. Now, when it comes to line work, a lot of problem with line work comes from pressure. I don't want to go into like too much detail on this, but like the harder you press, the more the hair is going to like spread out, right? So if you want a nice thin line, angle your brush higher, like higher, and learn to use your hand and like your wrist to get that motion rather than pressing down on your brush to get that motion. Do you see the difference? One more time. So let me load the brush again. Okay. If you angle your brush high and use the tip of the brush and move your hand, light pressure, just touch and then move your hand, you will get a nice thin line. But a lot of people, this is what a lot of people would do. They will grab the brush and they'll just like press it. They try to use your brush to like press down to get that line. But by doing that, you see how there's like already a difference in like the thickness. Do you see that? So you definitely, if you want thin lines, use the tip of the brush and you can literally do like swirls, like, you know, any type of thing. But if you're applying pressure and pressing it, like pressing it down, you're going to get a much thicker line. So to get thin lines, use less pressure, okay? And when you're doing line work, flash curing is your best friend. Because once you have the line exactly where you want it, don't be afraid to cure it, because that way you don't bump into it or anything. Because I have bumped into it multiple times. Okay. So again, using very light pressure here, just to get that line exactly where I want it. Okay. See how I'm angling my brush really high? Just using the tip of the brush here to get that nice clean line. Okay. And another thing too, and y'all not gonna believe me for this, but like when I am doing line work, I actually try not to hold my breath, because I have learned, number one, usually when I have to teach classes like this, like, you know, going live and stuff like that, if I hold my breath, I can't talk. So if I can't talk, then y'all can't learn. But like I need to like multitask, right? And I actually find that when I am doing line work, I get my best lines when I'm relaxed. And when you are holding your breath, your body's not exactly relaxed. Your body's like, help, please get me some air. That's what your body's doing. So what I would suggest when you're doing line work is take a deep breath, like exhale, give a nice yoga exhale to relax your hand, relax your body. You're not tense up. And to me, that's usually when my best lines like come out, is when I'm relaxed. Okay, so I find breathing through the lines a little bit easier for me rather than holding my breath. Okay, but hey, whatever works for you. So if you hear me like aggressively breathing into the phone, it's because also my phone is right here in front of my face. So if you hear me, I'm sorry, I apologize, but you know, gotta get clean lines. Okay, I'm gonna put right down here. And you see how frequently I'm loading my brush, especially for something like super thin like this. The more like you know, it's gonna run out faster than you think. So the thinner the brush, the more you have to reload the brush. So just keep that in mind. And I am using the Gel Monster Black here to do the line work. Now, granted, the Gel Monster Black is not, remember, it's the viscosity is only 4 stars. And the Gel Monster White is like 5 stars. So I would say it's not the most ideal as like a liner gel, but it is pigmented enough to do lines with it. If let's say they have a black with like a 5-star 5-star like viscosity, then that would be pretty much like a liner gel. But you can see here, even with like a 4-star viscosity, it still performs really well. You can still do like decent line work with it. It would just be a little bit more transparent, tiny bit. Okay, but like I said, you know, there are other, you know, you can use other gels to do line work, so it's not really the end of the world here. But you can see even like for thin lines, short lines, it's no problem at all. Okay. But who here is going to participate in the Gel Monster talent competition? Anybody? You guys should. Because, you know, there's no harm in trying. When is it? It's now. It's happened. It already happened. The due date is, I believe, August 4th. So you do have a whole month to participate in the talent competition. For more information, please go to zillibio.com. Or if you go to our page, like this Instagram page right now, there is a post about it. But the official instruction is on the website. So basically it is a talent competition. So your talent can be like anything. It can be like singing, it can be like dancing, it can be like nail art, literally anything. There are a couple of requirements for it. Like you need to, make sure you follow the instructions. Like one of the instructions is to make sure you're not, doing anything that cause harm. You need to make sure you're using the Zillibio theme song, the Gel Monster theme song. And you do have to put like a self video part. Yeah, there you go. But I mean, listen, you cannot lose unless if you try, right? So like, to me, it's like, you try. What's the worst thing that can happen, right? At least you tried. You know what I mean? Because like the grand prize is like $8,000 value. It's a huge value. Like I believe the first place, like the grand prize winner, you get like the Gel Monster like full set. You get a $500 like Zillibio seminar credit. You get a $5,000 Zillibio store credit. You get like the aprons, you get like brushes, you get like a starter kit. You get a lot for like the grand prize winner. It's like $8,000 value. It's a huge grand prize. I definitely think that you guys should like just give it a try, because like honestly, no harm. And yeah, like the self video part is intimidating, but I think, and this is just me giving, advice as a content creator. It's honestly a good practice, because when you're creating content for like brands and stuff. So let's say if you are a content creator for like a brand, a lot of times brands would actually request you to show your face. Do we have to use certain brands? I don't think so. I don't but please check the website for the official instructions. But like a lot of times when brands ask for content from content creators, they are looking for a personal touch. And that's why you see a lot of content creators tend to use like in the first couple of seconds in the video they put in their face, is because it makes your video more approachable and more personal. So it's honestly very good practice to do like the self video thing, because honestly they're probably just trying to find like to see your personality through your video. You know what I mean? The contest is for everyone. So right now, if you go into the link in our bio on the Zillibio's Instagram page, there's actually like a link directly to the information for the competition. So definitely read through it like properly, like read through it to make sure you follow all the rules and stuff. But it can be uploaded to Instagram, to YouTube, to TikTok. It doesn't matter. I think one of the major requirements is that you need to use the Gel Monster theme song. If you guys don't know, we have a theme song. So that's one of the major requirements. So definitely like read through the instructions. But anybody can participate. It's not strictly professional only. You're welcome. Like, I actually do want to participate. I have some ideas, not gonna lie, but it really all depends on like my availability. And again, just a reminder, this is like, it's not like a nail art competition. This is literally like a talent competition. So it could be you dancing to the theme song. It could be you creating the choreography for like the theme song. You do a dance cover for the theme song. You play instrument, anything really. What brush am I using? I'm using the short liner brush from a.k.a. right now. But Leaf Gel has a similar one. Okay, the only thing I have left is the eye. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give this a cure because I'm done. So I'm gonna give this a cure, and then we can seal the design with like a top coat. Okay. So actually, while we are doing that, let me pull up the. Am I entering? It depends on my like how busy I am this month. I'm still quite not sure yet. But I'm thinking about it. Because if you guys don't know, I used to be in a dance team. So I was actually debating on like joining, like doing like a dance cover of like the theme song. Okay, so here, let me show you guys. If you go to the Zillabue Instagram page, like click this link right here. Okay, you see, join the Jump Monster Talent Competition. Okay, so you can literally click into here, and it has all the information you need, all of it. Okay, so it tells you like how to enter. It tells you like the criteria, like winner selection and what are they looking for. Important dates. It needs to submission by August 4th. Okay, see the grand prize, the total value is at $8,000. $5,000 Zillabue gift card, John Monster full set, Anemone Dust Collector, Zillabue lamp, 1 year Zilla Plus membership, Zillabue apron, Leaf Gel files and buffer set, Make and starter kit, $500 Zillabue seminar credit, and Charmed Korean skincare set. Like, it's a lot. Okay, so like there are rules and requirements here, so make sure you read these to make sure you're not, missing anything. Judging criteria on like how, like what they're looking for is all here. Terms and conditions. Okay, so just make sure you read through all the information. See, it says like, create your video using the Jump Monster theme song in your talent performance. Your entry can be any form of talent except those rated R. Your video must include at least the chorus of the Jump Monster theme song. Include a self video and why entering this competition and why you want to win and how the grand prize can change your life. This can be included with the talent video or it can be a separate video. Okay, I suggest doing a separate video because you want your talent to be majority of the video. So do a separate video for your, like your self video. Okay, you can post your video on YouTube, on IG, TikTok, or all three. Okay, and I use the hashtag. So make sure you check out the talent competition because what's there to lose? Just try. You never know. Okay, so to finish this design off, we're basically done with the character. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the Gel Monster Top Gel to seal in the design and give it a nice shine. Just like that. Okay, you're going to go ahead and give this a cure. Okay, but do you guys have any questions for me before I call it a night? Thank you guys for watching. I really hope, even if you didn't paint along, you just like learn something, like little tips and tricks or something, But do you guys have any questions for me? Are you guys gonna join the competition now? Are you guys gonna do it? You guys should. Because there's really no harm in participating, you know? They say they consider likes and views. So what happens if we submit separate video? Is the talent video more important to get views? That's a very good question. Let me see. Here. Okay, see, when you are doing the self video, it can be a separate. Oh, sorry, I'm so zoomed in. So like this is the, so like if you go into here and you go to the Gel Monster Talent Competition, and this is, there's like a form here to submit. So if you click here, you see how there is your name, your email, phone number. You see why you want to win in this part. You can type that in. You can provide the link to your posted video. So this part, you add your talent video, and an additional link, you can provide the second video for your self video. I would say definitely the talent is the more important one, you know, because like the self video is just honestly for them. So I would say focus more on the talent video. Let me find the other two monsters. They're on my shelf right now. So let me go get that real quick. I also wipe off the top coat because I messed up somewhere. I fixed it. So let me just top coat this again. And then I'll go grab the other two. So far we've only painted 3 gel monsters. You know, if you guys want more of these kind of live, you definitely should let Zillabu know. Like, comment down below after this video is posted. Like, let us know that you want to see more. With views and engagement, but the views and engagement are only part of the criteria. It's not the whole criteria. There are other more criteria than just like the views and the likes. Does Zillabu save the live? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So this live would definitely be saved as well. Let me go get the other monsters. Ouch. But so far, we've only painted 2 other ones. This was the first one that we painted, Grizzly. So it's a little cute little bear. And then the other one that we did 2 weeks ago was this little duck. Okay. And then today we painted Midnite. Which one? This one? This glitter? Or this one? And today, this is what we painted. So we have 3 of the monsters so far. Yeah, this glitter right here, this one, the one behind the blue, is actually the Black DS specs. It's this one right here. The left, this one. This is the rose gold glitter. It's all Zillabu's glitter. So it's this one, the glitter rose gold. So it is this one. This is the glitter. It's the glitter number 4. Okay, and then this one, this blue glitter, it's the Black DS spec. It's this one, number 7. This one. And it's on top of a blue base. Okay, but I hope you guys learned a lot. But today we painted Midnite. Look at all its glory. I definitely painted it on like on the right side of the tip, but it's okay. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I hope you guys learned something from this live, at least a little bit. Okay, but I'll see you guys next time. I don't know when I'll go live again, but who knows, maybe in 2 weeks, but we'll see. But I hope you guys enjoyed this live. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.